Time to head off to a galaxy far, far away for a continuing space western with Mandalorian Season 2. The third episode is up and I just watched it, so stick with me and I'll break it down after the intro. Well, hello there. My name's Jeremy and welcome back to Freeform Disney, where I talk about all aspects of Disney, from the animated movies to the theme parks to Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar, and the TV shows, and everything else in between. And that is why it's Freeform. And keep coming back every day for new daily content. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Another episode is up. We are continuing our journey through Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Now, Chapter 11 is called The Heiress, and, well, there for a very good reason it's called that. Talked about that in a bit. Because, guess what? This is the most excited I have been in an episode of this season yet. And yes, it most definitely tops the Boba Fett reveal at the end of Chapter 9. So hey, without any further time to waste, let's just jump right on in. So here is what went down. First off, we see the Razor Crest just limping on toward Trask. Now, this is straight up from the trailer, too, and you knew this is where we were going to start this episode off. And, then it makes this super rough landing onto the planet. Now, he's having to go on manual because the ship is that torn to pieces and doing that poorly. And I love how they just kept yelling at him to slow down, you're coming in too fast. And hey, it actually looks like he's going to pull it off and stick the landing at the end. And in a good bit of Mandalorian humor, no. At the last moment, the one engine goes out and the ship just topples into the ocean. Oh, nicely done. And also we get this little Mon Calamari, this dock worker guy, who's just watching disapprovingly from the shore. And we see more of him throughout the episode, same kind of thing, because he's the one that goes ahead and fixes up, quote unquote, fixes up the ship for 1,000 credits. Just a fun background character, more or less, for us. Oh, and how do they get out of the ocean? Well, that's actually pretty cool because it's this giant walking crane platform thing. Big old giant legs. Really neat, actually. And then we're there, they're off on the docks, and we get the reunion between Frog Lady and Frogman. And I was actually surprised by this one. It was just so touching and endearing, way more so than I thought I would feel out of that one. So, yeah, it was a nice, pleasant surprise. And then here comes another piece out of the trailer, because there's Sasha Banks' character watching Dyn, just like we saw in that trailer. Now, her image was also the thumbnail image for the actual episode itself over in Disney+. So definitely there was no question she was popping up once I clicked on this episode. And hey, we'll reveal who she is a little bit later in this episode. So Dyn and Baby Yoda head over into the inn to get some information, and well, poor Baby Yoda is starving and needs some food. I mean, dang, he eats so bloody much all the time. Yo. Although it might have been a while since that last planet, who knows how long it took them to limp. Now, we do see a number of times during this episode the continuing theme I was talking about a little last time on the lack of Dyn's parenting skills. Now, much of this in this episode has to do with the continued worries about those eggs from the frog people, but also here in the inn, there's this sea creature in the chowder they get served, and it attacks Baby Yoda. And all we get from Dyn is a whole little don't play with your food. No, funny, yes, definitely. But it's also part of that bigger theme. Dyn just is not great at parenting Baby Yoda. He just isn't. So he really does need someone else eventually. That or Dyn needs to continue on a character arc to really get to be a better parent to Baby Yoda. One or the other anyway. Well, anyway, he gets passage with some Quarren to supposedly meet up with the other Mandalorians that are out there. And off onto the ship that we saw in the trailer. And here we get to meet another new creature. I'd never heard of it in Star Wars before. It is a Mamacor. And, well, things go south real quick right here. Because those Quarren, they're not exactly on the up and up. They saw a quick opportunity to get some easy money by just grabbing that Beskar off of Dyn. Yeah. Heck, they actually tried to kill Baby Yoda, just tossing it straight into that Mamacor. Well, Dyn, he really couldn't do much about this, at least not that we ever saw. It looked pretty bad for him, frankly. He was stuck under the bars and in the water. which actually is another piece from the trailer, by the way. And yeah, so you're just watching him going, it's not going great for you there, bud. Now here comes a great moment for the series. So everything's looking dire. What will happen? Enter Bo freaking Katan. Bo Katan is here, everyone. Oh man, that is so cool. You see that blue armor and the design of her helmet, and you know exactly who that is. And she's got 2 other Mandalorians with her, and they made quick work of all the Quarren on that ship. And heck, also of the Mama Core creature for that matter, rescuing Baby Yoda in the process. Now it is nice to watch some true, super well-trained Mandalorians just kick some ass and go to town. Yeah. Whew. As far as those other Mandalorians, well, we do go ahead and find out who they are, because it seems the names of the other 2 are Koska Reeves and Axe Woves. Now, that one, that's Sasha Banks' character right there as Koska Reeves. So we know how they knew that Dyn and Baby Yoda were out there. And now we get to even more interesting stuff, because it's conversation time. And this is actually going to get us some lore, it's going to get us some interesting interactions, all kinds of stuff. Because first off, Dyn's super happy to have been saved with Mandalorians, having met more of them, and then they take their helmets off. Dyn wasn't quite a fan of that right there, so his first assumption is that, well, they're not Mandalorians, they stole that armor. No. He even tries accusing them of not being Mandalorian because they don't cover their faces. And the reaction from the 2 next to Bo Katan on that too, from Axe. He's one of them. And Koska? Tank Ferric. There goes that curse again. That Dyn loves that curse, and we've heard it a few times in here, and also hear from Casca. Well, anyway, my reaction, I'm just going, hey, well, excuse me, you're gonna go call Bo Katan not a Mandalorian? Whoa. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about there. Although I guess I can make an argument, but I mean, she's born on Mandalore. She's even been part of the whole old ways and all of that, bring back the ancient ways stuff. I mean, she's kind of been through it all right there. And she identifies just what group he's with, because he is a child of the Watch. So boom, there it is. Confirmation that his sect of Mandalorians seem to be an offshoot or some kind of descendant of the old Death Watch. Now, this has been suspected by some people because one of the Mandalorians we saw in the group, the big one back in season 1, that guy is called Paz Vizsla, and was also voiced by Jon Favreau, who we also heard back in the Clone Wars because he voiced the character Pre Vizsla. So there's definitely been some good suspicion that it was an offshoot of the Watch. And as Bo Katan says, yeah, they are a cult of religious zealots that broke away from Mandalorian society, with the whole goal being to reestablish the ancient way. Now, Dyn, who has been in this thing since a kid, is certainly plenty brainwashed by this point in time, so good luck getting through to him on this yet. So, as he says, there's only one way, the way of the Mandalore. And boom, he rockets on off. Oh, Bo Katan's reaction to that line, by the way, priceless. I mean, she is being patient with him, but a little fed up, just a bit. It's not really fed up with him as much as clearly the Children of the Watch itself. Yeah. Oh, that was a fun set of interactions right there, and the lore we got from it too. Ooh, so nice. And hey, then we get a cool shot from the distance because Dyn is watching and it's sunset and the 3 Mandalorians blow up that ship and rocket off into the sky. Just a beautiful shot, fun to watch. And hey, then it is nighttime and it's gonna be time to go ahead and have to save Dyn again. Why, you ask? Because he runs into more than a few unhappy Quarren. So that guy wants to go kill Baby Yoda in revenge. It's not so great for him. Baby Yoda doesn't have his cool little pod that he goes in anymore. That was destroyed back by that Mama Core. Well, luckily, in rocket Bo Katan and her crew. And Bo gets this badass line of, he didn't kill your brother. I did. Yeah. Good luck to you. And really, luck wouldn't have probably even saved him here. I mean, again, they show us how it's done. Bam, bang, bam. It is over so amazingly quick. Heck, I actually went and timed it. It is 3 seconds. And all of the Quarren are dead. And there were probably at least 7 to 8 Quarren. We never got a full picture. There were 5 in front of them, plus at least a couple behind them to the sides. So, yeah. Woo. That's how you make quick work of them all right there. If you're Dyn, you have to know how outclassed you are by those 3. Dang. Yeah. Now, after being saved a second time, Dyn is finally willing to hear them out this time around. So we find out that the planet Trask they're on here is a black market port where the remaining Imperials that are left over are staging weapons and moving them. And Bo Katan is super clear that her mission is to retake Mandalore, and seizing those weapons, by the way, certainly part of the plan. Interesting thing out of Dyn, because Dyn's response to that piece about Mandalore, other than the fact that, hey, he's got his own mission and he's got no part in that at this point. Other than that, he says that the planet is cursed and anyone who goes there dies. Which is an intriguing response. He says the Imperials made it so that no one could live there anymore if they couldn't have it. Now, Bo Katan clearly tells us that that is disinformation spread by the Empire to essentially keep the Mandalorians spread out and weaker. And so they need to get them together because they are stronger together. Now, I've got to tell you, I wonder if he's going to have to pick a side between the Watch and, well, Bo Katan and her Mandalorian somewhere later. I'm not saying this season necessarily. I don't think it's going to come here. But I could see that decision coming up in, say, season 3 or heck, maybe season 4. Could be interesting to see where that all goes. We'll see what we see, I guess. By the way, I'll also note, one of my predictions for the season, now I may be too quick, but I did make the prediction that eventually having met Bo Katan and whatnot will lead to Dyn being willing to remove his helmet freely. Now he's got to get out of that brainwashing of the Watch and decide that he's okay with not being part of that group anymore first. And that's going to take some time, so that certainly might not happen in the course of season 2, but I do think it will happen eventually. Oh, and hey, there is a little talk about the Jedi, just very, very little though. And Dyn even makes his request calling on, please help me, by the Creed. And well, she will, in exchange for his help. So it is time for this to become a heist movie. So we are going after an Imperial Gazanti freighter. And by the way, that's a ship we've seen as early as a Phantom Menace, actually, and also in Clone Wars and Rebels. It's a commonly used ship right there. Oh, but first, just a quick note. He does go leave Baby Yoda with the frog people, which of course leaves us all worried a little bit. He gives this little talk about how Baby Yoda needs to be nice and mind his manners and all that. You know what I'm talking about. But seriously, that seems to still be the extent of his parenting. It's like, oh man. Now, luckily, the fact is that Frog Lady and Frogman seem to watch over Baby Yoda well and really seem like they would make good parents comparatively. At the end, we even get this comment that seems to be that Baby Yoda has made friends with the new little tadpole kind of guy and would actually like to adopt him rather than eat him. So, hey, there's something to be said for their parenting compared to Dyn's. And again, I think this is going to build more as we go through the season. Well, now it is time for our big ol' action scene. It is lots of action coming up now. So they rocket up and onto the freighter, and those stormtroopers barely know what hit them. Dang, they are out quick. At least the ones on the outside. The others, well, have a little more time to know what hit them before they die. There are some great action scenes in this. And again, Bo Katan and her Mandalorians are really showing us how it's done. Heck, Dyn could really learn a thing or two, or 3 or 4 from them. They are trained in a really good way of being fighters, in a way that clearly Dyn is not. And I'm going to guess that the other people we know probably from the Children of the Watch probably are not. Oh, and it is just, again, badass is kind of the word we use to describe Bo Katan and the other two. At least it's the word I use. Let's go with that. But that's how we portray them walking through there. Just walking through those hallways, confident, straight through, good shots, etc. Heck, I love these stormtroopers are originally reporting up to the bridge that there are at least 10 enemies out there. Because, yeah, it would sure as hell seem that way, wouldn't it? Dang. Oh, outclassed to hell and gone right there. Oh, and hey, don't worry, Dyn does get one moment to kind of shine in there. He does a bit with some bombs later. Yeah, good times with those thermal detonators. Anyway. Oh, another moment I love during this whole fighting section is when the captain of the freighter realizes where his people have trapped the Mandalorians. So they trapped them in the cargo control area. And it's just like, so you guys are in the cargo bay and have trapped your enemy in the cargo control area. Yeah, you know where that's going. It's like, oh. Just like the reaction on the captain's face when he hears that. It's like, yeah, whoop, off they go. Blasted out as the bay doors get opened. Yeah. Oh, not a well thought through plan. They were desperate and panicking right there. Now at this point, Bo Katan changes the plan and decides that they're going to take the entire ship and not just the cargo. Now why? Well, partly it seems because she's after the Darksaber. So that means we know she's going to eventually be going after Moth Gideon right here. Oh, and Dyn is a little ticked off on this. I mean, heck, you weren't changing the terms of the deal here. And Bo, oh, the response is great. This is the way. Oh, ouch. Dang. Just slightly backhand deliver of that burn right there. And at the same time, also, it just is. It's an interesting combination of things going on in that one. And then we get the first appearance of Moth Gideon for the season. By hologram, that is. He's not actually here. Oh, heck no. Way too early to see him actually here. And well, it's already too late to save this ship. And Moth Gideon sure as heck knows that going up against Mandalorians. So he gives the captain the order to destroy the ship. Well, thankfully, by the way, there's no self-destruct, thank goodness. So that means it's going to be time to crash the ship. And that captain has some real loyalty, kills his people off just like that, and has no problem killing himself off too. Certainly also in part in his own fear of Moth Gideon, it seems. And we get a long live the Empire. Yeah, it seems a phrase that would be fitting for the remnants of the Empire here. Sure. I'm sure it won't be the last time we hear that phrase. Well, unsurprisingly, they go ahead and take the ship, succeed in stopping it from crashing, and Bo Katan essentially gets her confirmation that the Darksaber is in the hands of Moth Gideon. And she makes another offer. Again, hey, you're free to go ahead and join us there, Dyn. And even though you're choosing not to do it, hey, the offer stands if you change your mind in the future. Good luck finding them, but I'm sure he will somehow, some way. And really, there seems to be some genuine respect between them at the end, even if there's a little problem still with that sect he's a part of. And I'm pretty sure we'll probably see Bo Katan again at some point in the series. Just spitballing there. Other than just the fact she's Bo Katan, she's also kind of on a bit of a collision course with Moth Gideon and that Darksaber of his right now. Now, before we go, we do get to find out where that Jedi is. After all, that was part of the deal. So that Jedi is over at the city of Caladan on the forest planet of Corvus. Now, this is not a planet we seem to have ever heard of before, so another new location right here. So no idea what part of the galaxy that's in. And oh, did I forget to say who the Jedi was? Oh, right. It's Ahsoka. Yes. So excited right there. Been looking forward to seeing Ahsoka. Yes. Anyway. So, end of the episode, didn't Baby Yoda go back in the barely functioning Razor Crest? I've got to tell you, he really needs a new ship. I guess we could just completely repair it too. But I'm wondering if this is kind of leading to him getting a completely new ship. Heck, it's even losing pieces as it takes up off the planet and goes into space. It's like, dang. Yeah. And hey, to end it, we do get one last cute moment with Baby Yoda eating some seafood and just being cute Baby Yoda. And that's the end of this episode right here. What can I say? Wow. Love this one right here. Now, it's actually the shortest episode of the season so far, and heck, tied for the second shortest of the entire show. And I'll admit, it did feel short, actually. But I loved it so much. Bo Katan in here, as well as Axe and Casca as well. They were just so great. And I am so looking forward to seeing more of Bo Katan. Whether that's later this season, spin-off show perhaps, later seasons, etc. There's a lot to potentially go with here, the whole retaking of Mandalore. Ooh, that could be a big play. Well, anyway, this was the most excited I have been this season by a good bit. I'm a big fan of Bo Katan and also a big fan of Katee Sackhoff, who played her here and voiced her back in Clone Wars, and from what I've heard in Rebels too. Now, I'm watching Rebels actually right now for the first time, so I'm still trying to avoid those spoilers as best as I can right now. Tricky with her being here in Mandalorian, but so I know a little, but very, very little, trying to keep that minimal. Hey, and also, bonus points, I actually made one of my predictions for the season and missed one of them with today's episode. I was certainly wrong about going to Mon Cala, and I was wrong about who Sasha Banks' character would be. But I was right that Dyn would find Bo Katan, who would then lead him to Ahsoka. Hey, I actually got one of my predictions right. You never know. See, I could get a prediction right. Oh, I've got to say, I am so looking forward to meeting Ahsoka, who, personally, of course, I'm hoping she appears next episode. But I am completely ready for an unexpected detour. After all, there's still a couple pieces of that trailer that we haven't seen yet. So maybe we're going to make a detour over to Navarro to see Greef, Karga, and Cara Dune. In fact, to be frank, that's my guess. For whatever excuse, maybe it has to do with the ship failing or something else, I don't know. I think he's going to head there first and we're going to see them, and then we'll finish out the clips of what we've seen in the trailer. And hey, still, that's cool too. Hey, it's just building up our anticipation of seeing Ahsoka even more. And I can see them wanting to do that. After all, this is Ahsoka Tano right here. Build up that anticipation and get us all super psyched for seeing her when she eventually pops in. But I'm going to bet it's not going to be next episode, as much as I would love it to be. Well, hey, at any rate, well, what about you? Were you as wowed as I was by seeing Bo Katan this episode? And how long do you think it's going to be before we actually see Ahsoka? Let me know down below in the comments. And thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, please help me out and give it a like, a share, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another new episode of Freeform Disney. Have a magical day, and may the Force be with you. Always.